What's up, everybody? Out of nowhere, a new ARPG has just launched into early access, Titan Quest II. And we need to talk about it because it's not quite what you might expect. So we knew Titan Quest II was coming. This is a very, very popular series that we were all hyped for. And there was no date, there was no release date. We didn't really know anything about where this game was in development. But then out of nowhere, they kind of teased that we're going to release more information soon. And lots of us were expecting a release date, but they just dropped it. 2 days ago, they just dropped the game into early access on Steam. And in this review, I do want to talk about, the good, the bad, and overall, if this game is worth it. But first, I just want to talk about the elephant in the room. First, I just need to address something. And if you take nothing from this video, this review, it needs to be this. And that is about the state of the early access this has released into. So, love or hate early access, lots of games are doing it right now. Path of Exile 2 launched into early access at the end of last year and has received a lot of criticism for being unfinished, surprisingly. But you kind of have to expect that with an early access game. However, with Titan Quest 2, you're not getting a game that is a little bit unfinished. You're not getting a game that is like only half complete. You're getting a very, very basic, very early version of a game in development. I finished everything that was here in around 5 or 6 hours. Right now, there is just the first act and there are 4 masteries, which is kind of like how their classes work. And that's it. There was no real big boss fights. There is no end game, no crafting, nothing really to do after you finish that first act. So yeah, I wanted to start with this just to let you know what you're getting. The game is currently £20 on Steam. That's probably like $25, $26. And I just wanted to start with this because as I go through and I say, this is good, this is bad, that is all in the context of this is just a small snippet of the game. I know for a lot of people, they're going to see that price, they're going to buy it, they're going to play through it, and they're going to be instantly frustrated. And I just want to make you all aware, if you do get this, you are doing it because you want to support Titan Quest 2, you want to see this game come out, you want to support the development. So with that being said, let's talk about the actual game. First up, the classes and the builds. So this is a classless game in a way. You start out as just a person. You don't pick a class at the start like a wizard or a warrior. There are masteries. And as you play this, you will unlock a mastery quite early on. And then you can also unlock a second mastery as you play through. So you can make these hybrid characters, which is a really, really cool system. I went for warfare and earth. So it was a focus on like melee skills, like leaps and smashing the ground. And then earth, so you have this like increased armor, you can throw out like fissures, and it was a really cool, interesting build. You could have played this as, an archer or a rogue with lightning, or you could have played it as a full mage with both of the 2 elemental skills, which I think is a really cool thing. And as you get more I'm assuming as they add more and more masteries, you can do even more with this, which is really exciting. Right now, you had a selection of abilities, as you can see on screen. And as you level up, you gain more ability points, or more of these mastery points. Additionally, as you do bosses or side quests or special events, you would get divinity, and this let you progress up that bar on the left side, unlocking the next tier of abilities. So as you defeat like a big boss or do this big chain of quests, you would unlock a big chunk of divinity and be able to unlock a new tier. You can also respec these freely as you play. Now, on top of this, there is also attribute points where you can go into like health or magic or that kind of thing. So you kind of are locked into a build in a way because you couldn't change your masteries as you play, but you can respec them. So you see there's all these different abilities. You can try different ones, but you couldn't respec out of, say, earth and go into storm. So in what we've played so far, you would have to make a new character to do that. Now, the most exciting part of this mastery, this class system, is when you level up a skill. So at its surface, it doesn't look like there's much progression or build variety here. However, when you level up a skill, you unlock these little nodes around it. You unlock these little circles around the skill. The more points you put in, the more of these circles you unlock, and each one of these lets you modify the skill. So for example, with fissure, when you throw out a fissure, you can put a point in to turn it into a molten fissure. You can put a point in to turn it into a strike ability. You can put a point in to make it a spike-based ability. So there are all these different modifiers which completely change how your skills work. So you can go around different things and look for increases to fire damage and then start to find more things that create fire damage, turn this ability into fire damage, and then you can have a full fire-based build. Similarly, you could go into crit or any other system or attribute like this. And that is one of the most exciting things here. Like I said, right now we only have 1 act, and respecing wasn't very easy. So it's not, I haven't been able to fully go into everything and find any crazy broken builds, stuff like that. But knowing that the system is set up like this means it's possible. And I think that's very, very exciting once we do get to see more of the game, how far we can take this. So what is Titan Quest 2 and what are we doing here? Well, it's set in ancient Greece, and lots of this is heavily influenced by Greek mythology, and I think that is an incredible setting for a game. You can already start to imagine the types of boss fights we're going to have, the different heroes of legends that we're going to meet along the way, because they're all inspired by this Greek mythology, which is really exciting, and you do start to meet some in this initial first act. Now, we can't say much about the story itself, but what we do know is there is a goddess of retribution called Nemesis, and they are corrupting everyone and trying to sort of take over and take over the threads of fate. And if you know your Greek mythology, the fates were these three women, these three goddesses that kind of created your fate. They wove your thread, they measured it, and then they kind of said when it would end. So they kind of created your destiny. And this goddess Nemesis was trying to stop this and corrupt this. So it's a very, very exciting idea for a story and setting for a game, and I'm very, very, very excited for where this is going to go. However, that's all we know, because we only got a little tiny glimpse into the game in this early access so far. They have said they're going to be regularly updating this, so I imagine story will keep coming, but for what we can say right now, it's a good start. So I don't want to go into every single little thing and give you a review of it, because it just wouldn't be fair. The game just isn't there yet. So let's do an overall and good and bad. What are the good and bad parts of the game? So I've already touched on the open world and the storytelling, and all of that stuff is fantastic, and I'm sold on that. I think it's really, really, really good. The builds and what you can do with them is great. I think that the fact that you can make hybrids is really good. Unfortunately, we don't have many masteries, so that you're going to have earth warriors and lightning rangers and not much else to do, because there's only 4 masteries right now. The only other thing I'd say is a really good pro is it's a very smooth experience. It's not too complicated, it's not too complex, and it gets you into the game fairly easily. You start out with no class, then you put a few points into your core skills, then you slowly pick your first, mastery, then you get another one, then you learn what a side quest is. It does a very good job of slowly building the character into the game and into the world, which is not always great in some ARPGs. And I think if you're new to the RPG genre, this is going to be a great first pick because it's so easy to get into. Now, I don't want to talk about the downsides or the problems with the game. It's more rather the things that just aren't here. So masteries, we only have 4. For this to be a successful and really good ARPG, we need a lot more. That's how we get build diversity, that's how we get replayability, and we just need a lot more of it. Again, story, there isn't much of it. There's only 1 act. And then boss fights, there aren't many. We have a couple of fairly interesting fights like the one you can see here, but there's no big boss fights with really cool mechanics, so you can't really judge the depth of those fights. The crafting is also non-existent at this point. You find an item, you can equip it, or you can sell it in town. There's not really anything you can do or any way to tweak or progress the items or anything like that in the game at this point. So we can't say if it's good or bad or if it will even exist. Now, overall, should you buy Titan Quest 2? Is Titan Quest 2 worth buying? Now, that's going to fall into 2 questions. One, do you want to support the game's development? Do you want to see this game be made, and do you want to support it? Did you like the first one? Do you just love ARPGs and want to see more of them get made? Then yeah, go get it. Secondly, are you happy with the early access experience of every few months they release a new act, every few months they release a new mastery, and you go in and check it out as it comes? Again, if the answer is yes, then yeah, grab this. It looks like it's going to be a fantastic game, and everything you see here feels, plays, and looks great. I think they've got something really special here, so thank you for sending me a free key, and I will throw a link down below if you want to go and support this game. Now, why maybe would you not get this? Why would you not buy this? And I'll keep this honest. If you're looking for a finished product, if you're looking for a finished game, just wait. This is very, very far from being finished, so just wait. If you don't like early access games, you don't want to keep coming back and checking every time there's a new bit of content, just wait for it. This game is not there. If you want to blast through it in one day and just play it for as long as possible, you're going to burn out very, very fast because there isn't much to do here. Again, if you are someone who loves depth and complexity, there's nothing in the game right now. There's no outside systems, end game, there's no crafting. There's nothing to really get your teeth into. So if you are a big, ARPG fan and you just want to really grind something out, you can't do that in here, at least not right now. So yeah, that's Titan Quest 2. It feels more like a very early glimpse of the game. And from what we see, I'm very excited for where it goes. But just be aware, we are at the very, very start of early access, and it looks like there's a long way to go. But that's it from me. Let me know what you think down below. Does this look like something you're going to try? Are you going to wait it out? Have you played it? Let me know. I'm curious what people think of this one. But that's it from me. Take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.